The film begins with an exposition about the sacred guardians called Shaolin. The Shaolins fought off 4 dangerous beasts in the past using the power of elements. Ultimately, they used something called a wind spell to seal the spirit of the 4 beasts, restoring peace to the human world. Since then, the title of Shaolin has been passed down through generations to chosen individuals with special marks on their palms. In the next scene, we see our protagonist, a blind boy named Lang Ming, being chased by gangsters. We witness him use his incredible hearing to avoid obstacles and navigate the town. However, he fails to hear the dog pooping in front of him, so he steps on the poop and slips. We are then shown what transpired 30 minutes before the chase. We see Lang Ming talking to children pretending to be a Shaolin. He shows them several books related to Shaolins. Then, he sells them stamps that allegedly allow them to have the Shaolin status. Moments later, 3 individuals known as the Firecracker Gangsters show up in front of Lang Ming's stall. They try to intimidate the blind boy, but he seems unfazed. One of them even swallows a firecracker just to scare Lang Ming. When one of them turns around, Lang Ming runs away. We now go back to the part where Lang Ming slips. He tries sneaking into a bathhouse to hide, but he ends up creating a commotion. Lang Ming gets kicked out. When he steps outside the bathhouse, he finds himself surrounded by the gangsters chasing him. He uses his hearing to figure out his location. When he realizes he is near the casino, he shouts as loud as he can, calling his mother. A woman named Mei appears in front of Lang Ming. She scolds him and tries to take him home. The gangsters block her path, but she slaps them in the face. Shocked, the gangsters freeze in place, not knowing what to do next. This gave Lang Ming and Mei enough time to escape. In the next scene, we see a Shaolin meditating in a temple. He then gathers leaves around him to see a vision of the future. He sees a large beast in front of him. Then, all of a sudden, another Shaolin named Yi Henshi pulls him out of the vision. He asks Yi Henshi if the other Shaolins have any updates. They briefly talk about the presence of demons and a mysterious man they met 13 years ago. We go back to Lang Ming and Mei, who are now in front of a newly opened casino. Upon entering, Lang Ming and Mei go to one of the gambling tables. Lang Ming uses his superior hearing to know the numbers on the dice. Upon noticing their winning streak, the one handling the table uses cheats to change the results of the roll just before it's revealed. Still, since Lang Ming can hear the changes, their winning streak continues. At some point, the dealer accuses Lang Ming and Mei of cheating, and they get thrown out of the establishment. Fortunately, Mei manages to keep a bag of coins with her so they don't go home empty-handed. Upon arriving home, the mother and son divide their earnings that day. Lang Ming notices that Mei is dividing the coins unevenly and points it out. Mei suddenly delivers a dramatic speech about how hard it is to be a single mother. While his mother continues her speech, Lang Ming reminisces about his past. A flashback starts. We see the young Lang Ming and his father. His father gives him a pinwheel while telling him that it's the wind spell. Mei tries to refute the man's claim, but he insists that such power is true. The father tells the young Lang Ming that a blind boy like him is more likely to feel the power of the wind. Next, we see the young Lang Ming strapped to a kite high up in the air. The kite string snaps, leaving Lang Ming to get swept away by the wind. The flashback ends with the memory of Lang Ming's father never returning home. We go back to the present and see Mei still being dramatic. She asks Lang Ming if he really wants to be so stringent with money. He tells her yes and demands to get a bigger part of the share. In the next scene, we see a woman standing in the middle of the lake. She uses her powers on the water to contact a mysterious entity. The entity then tells her to retrieve a specific item. She agrees without hesitation. Next, we see Mei at a pharmacy buying some medicines. The pharmacist tells her that Lang Ming will never be able to see again. She doesn't listen and continues to walk out of the pharmacy with the medicine. Outside, she asks herself how she can make her son see again. Then, we see the foot of a monster just before the scene changes. That night, we see Lang Ming on the roof, contemplating the truth behind Shaolins. He hears an unusual sound, so he heads out to find its source. When Lang Ming heads out of town, we see the Firecracker Gangsters following him. Later, Lang Ming ventures to a nearby forest. The gangsters following him decide to stop their pursuit since it is already late in the evening. Next, we see a spinning top suspended mid-air inside a magical sphere. The woman from earlier tries to grab the top but gets electrocuted instead. Then, all of a sudden, the environment around her starts to glow. She wonders if she can't get a hold of the top because of the dark energy inside her. Lang Ming arrives at the location, and the woman hides. He approaches the top and grabs it without issue. Then the glow of the surrounding disappears. The woman steps out and demands that Lang Ming give her the top. Their surroundings begin to crumble. Still, the woman starts attacking Lang Ming so she can steal the top. During their scuffle, Lang Ming accidentally swallows the top. He then falls into a fissure that suddenly appears below him. The next day, Lang Ming wakes up in a forest. When he goes to the nearby river, he sees his reflection in the water. It takes him a few seconds to realize that he is no longer blind. He takes his time looking at his surroundings and enjoying his newfound ability to see. We see him get on top of a mountain and shout about being able to see again. Then, he tries to remember the events that transpired last night. He assumes that swallowing the top gave him his vision. Lang Ming heads back to town to tell his mother what happened. We see Lang Ming back in his town, Xiaoyanggang. He finds it odd that no one seems to be around. He shouts, calling his mother. However, instead of Mei appearing, a large demon resembling a lion shows up. The demon chases him around town. Fortunately, he finds a hiding spot and sees the members of the firecracker gang also hiding there. While Lang Ming is talking to the gangsters, the demons suddenly make an explosive entrance. The demon corners Lang Ming and he falls on his back near a smithy. He manages to hit the demon in the forehead with a branding iron, but gets thrown in the air after. Out of the blue, Lang Ming's fall gets broken by a surge of sand. We then see a group of Shaolins come forward to confront the demon. We see the Shaolins display mastery of their respective elements, mainly fire, ice, metal, and earth. They quickly pin down the demon and bury it under a pile of rubble. After that, the residents of Xiaoyanggang come out of hiding and thank their saviors. Lang Ming recognizes the Shaolins and correctly identifies each one of them. He asks them if they have a stamp on their hand. One of the Shaolins shows his palm to Lang Ming. The crowd then sees that the mark on Shaolin's palm is different from Lang Ming's. They start to realize that he is lying about being a Shaolin. When the Shaolins ask about the origin of the demon, a gangster points out that Lang Ming might have something to do with it. They tell everyone that Lang Ming had been suspiciously exploring the mountains the night before the attack. They accuse him of attracting the demon. Then, the children around him start throwing stamps at him. These are the same stamps that he sold to them before. While that is happening, a bystander points out that the demon has escaped. The Shaolins split up, 2 remain in the town while the rest search for the demon. After that, they notice that Lang Ming has suddenly left as well. Lang Ming runs to his home and finds it in such a bad state. Most of the buildings are destroyed. He tries calling out for Mei but no one answers. He falls to his knees and pleads for his mother to come back. As it starts to rain, Lang Ming becomes more desperate and begins searching the nearby rubble. Suddenly, the woman who fought with him shows up. She asks Lang Ming if he wants to make a deal with her. She tells him to give her the top in exchange for showing him where Mei is. Lang Ming attacks her, but he immediately gets subdued. He tells her that the top is in his stomach. The woman lets go of his arm and tells him to follow her. In another scene, we see 2 Shaolins discussing something. One of them tells the other that she senses a familiar evil force called the Zero Force. This speculation alarms both of them. Next, we see Lang Ming and the mysterious woman go on a journey together. Before leaving the village, Lang Ming gets assaulted by a gangster. Fortunately, the woman quickly defeats the gangster by slamming him to the ground like a ragdoll a few times. After that, a series of scenes accompanied by a song starts. We see Lang Ming and the woman traverse various terrains. At one point, the woman pushes Lang Ming off a cliff but catches him with a rope. This was an attempt to see if the boy would spit out the top. When Lang Ming goes to the corner to pee, the woman suddenly gets attacked by 2 Shaolins. Lang Ming sees what's happening and asks the Shaolin what they are doing. The Shaolin warns Lang Ming that he is with someone possessing the Zero Force, an ancient evil power. The Shaolins then get into another short battle with the woman. This time, both sides get gravely injured. The Shaolins ask Lang Ming to capture the girl. The boy hesitates despite being told by the Shaolins to trust them. Instead, Lang Ming decides to run away with the woman by falling off a nearby cliff. That night Lang Ming wakes up inside a cave with the woman lying on his chest. He wakes her up by slapping her. However, when she regains consciousness, she is still in her Zero Force form. The woman becomes hostile toward Lang Ming, but she manages to restrain herself. She asks Lang Ming to run as far away from her as possible. Lang Ming tries to run but realizes that he can't just leave the woman alone. The woman, seeing him still there, asks him to tell her a happy story. Lang Ming tells her the story of his childhood, but all of the sad details are replaced by happier lies. After telling the story, he notices that the woman has already returned to her normal self and is sleeping beside him. A few hours later, Lang Ming and the woman explore the cave they are in. He tries asking her a few questions to get to know her. She tells him that she can't remember who she is and that there is one person that offered to return her to normal in exchange for the top. After that, Lang Ming gives her the nickname Little Goblin. After some time, they stumble upon the cave exit that is blocked by a large rock. Outside, we see a large number of people performing a worshipping ceremony. When Lang Ming leans on the rock, it easily moves and falls off. The large rock, which we see is also the statue of the worshipper's god, comes tumbling down several feet below. When the worshippers see that Lang Ming and Little Goblin caused the accident, they immediately capture and tie them up. Lang Ming and Little Goblin find out they're in a village called that. The village elder tells them that they will be offered as a sacrifice to their god. Lang Ming tries to get out of the situation by telling the villagers that he is a Shaolin. He shows him the scars on his palm and claims that he can use the wind spell. The villagers untie Lang Ming and allow him to demonstrate his skills beside a large tree. He slams his palm on the side of the tree, but nothing happens. He claims that what he did was actually stopping the wind. The crowd is silent but then cheers him on, believing his lie. The village elder tells Lang Ming that only one of them will be sacrificed. In an attempt to save Little Goblin, Lang Ming tells the elder that she is his wife. Both of them get tossed in the air by the crowd. However, the village elder reveals he will still sacrifice them and that their status makes them a better sacrifice. In the next scene, we see the three Shaolins that went out to seek the escaped demon. They receive a message from the other Shaolins informing them about the presence of the woman with a zero force in her body. They speculate that the demon's presence is related to the appearance of the zero force user. Then they decide to reconvene with the other Shaolins before making their next move. In the next scene, we see Lang Ming and Little Goblin in the middle of a large pool with only their birthday suits. The villagers around them dance, throw flower petals, and sing a song for the sacrificial ceremony. After the song ends, the village elder reveals that the ritual is over. The village elder reveals that the ritual is less about sacrifice and more about telling the gods who are at fault for the fallen statue. After that, Lang Ming and Little Goblin are given a room in the village to rest. That night, Little Goblin communicates with her master using a mirror. She tells him about the situation with the top. However, their conversation is interrupted by Lang Ming, who tells her that the village elder is waiting for them. Inside a mysterious cave, we see Little Goblin's master talking to a giant eye. He tells the eye that it will regain its full power soon enough. Back in the village, we see Lang Ming coming out of the bathroom complaining about his bowel movement. Little Goblin asks him if the top came out. He tells her that it hasn't and tries to go back to the bathroom. However, he sees a long line of people waiting to use it. Later that night, Lang Ming and Little Goblin talk about the past. We find out that when Lang Ming was little, Little Goblin saved him from his bullies. In a flashback, we see her light a firecracker in front of the bullies. The young Lang Ming chooses to grab the firecracker instead of running away. He gets launched into the air, and the firecracker explodes while he's holding it. We find out that this is the reason why Lang Ming has scars on his palm. The next day, Little Goblin consults with the village elder about Lang Ming's stomach problem. She reveals that he has swallowed a top. When the elder finds out that she is talking about the top near Xiaoyangang, he takes them to a special room. The elder tells them the story of the time he and two others fell into a mysterious cave. There, he accidentally unleashed a dark force that possessed him and turned him into an insatiable beast. When the elder was about to swallow his companions, a hero appeared and sealed the dark force inside a top. Unfortunately, the hero lost his life immediately after. The elder and the other villages then built a statue to remember him. That was the same statue that Lang Ming ruined. After telling the story, the village elder leaves for a while to attend another ceremony in the village. Lang Ming asks Little Goblin what she will do with the top if it contains dark energy. She remains silent. He then tells her that he is willing to give her the top, even if it means he'll go back to being blind. Later that day, the villagers construct another bathroom specifically for Lang Ming only. In the following scenes, we see Little Goblin take care of Lang Ming while his stomach continues to bloat. The scenes resemble a married couple preparing for a baby to be born. However, in their case, Lang Ming is the one acting pregnant. We also see Little Goblin try using makeup, with a hilarious outcome. At one point, Lang Ming sees Little Goblin looking at a specific bracelet at a stall. He purchases the bracelet in secret so he can give it to her later. In the next scene, the village elder suggests that cutting open Lang Ming's stomach is the only way to recover the top. Little Goblin is against this idea, so she and Lang Ming walk away from the elder. While walking, Lang Ming asks her where she will go after returning to her normal life. She tells him that she will probably look for her family. Then all of a sudden, Lang Ming feels a strong urge to poop. Moments later, Lang Ming crawls out of the bathroom. He shows Little Goblin the bracelet that he bought for her. He also shows him the top and tells her his eyesight remains intact. Instead of taking the top, she takes the bracelet and tells Lang Ming to give her the top once they find his mother. When Lang Ming and Little Goblin go back to that village, they find the place empty. The only person they see is a crying child. Lang Ming tries to comfort the crying child, but a large demon suddenly appears. Little Goblin's master also shows up. She grabs the top from Lang Ming's hand and gives it to her master. While doing that, she also reveals that she lied to Lang Ming, stating that she doesn't know where Mei is. The demon attacks Lang Ming and Little Goblin tries to help him. However, her master pulls her back to him, rendering her immobile. Out of nowhere, another demon appears, fighting the demon attacking Lang Ming. Little Goblin's master uses his powers to stop the fight, teleporting the demon somewhere else. Suddenly, the Shaolins arrive, and they identify the master as Jia Yi. Lang Ming finds out that Jia Yi is the one responsible for the existence of the Zero Force in the human world. The Shaolins try to fight Jia Yi, but he teleports away before they can reach him. The Shaolins decided to report the incident to their colleague before pursuing the villain further. Lang Ming goes to the village's special chamber and sees most of the villagers hiding there. He apologizes to them for what happened and admits that he lied to them about many things. He expects them to shun him, but instead, the villagers show him kindness and empathy. Due to their act of kindness, Lang Ming becomes motivated and heads out to look for Little Goblin on his own. He uses his superior sense of hearing to locate Little Goblin's bracelet and pinpoint her location. In the next scene, we see Jia Yi admiring the top. Little Goblin approaches him and asks to keep his promise of granting her freedom and humanity. He tells her that if she ever passes away, then the Zero Force inside her body will naturally disappear. She tries attacking him, but Jia Yi immediately incapacitates her. After that, he tells her that the spirit inside the top belongs to one of the ferocious beasts named Tao Tai. We find out that his plan all along was to resurrect this beast. The next scene takes place in a temple. The commander of the Shaolins receives a message delivered by a bird. After reading it, he tells his companion to gather all the Shaolins for an emergency meeting. Next, we see Lang Ming find the battered Little Goblin. He asks her where his mother is. After a few seconds of pause, she tells him to follow him. She leads him to a large chamber containing thousands of demons. Little Goblin then tells Lang Ming that his mother is one of the demons. We find out that the demons were once humans. They turned into demons after exchanging their bodies to fulfill a single desire. We learn that Mei transformed into a demon after wishing that Lang Ming had regained his vision. Lang Ming can't help but cry after finding out the truth. He asks Little Goblin if he can sacrifice his life to turn Mei back into a human. Unfortunately, Little Goblin tells him that only the beast Tao Tai has the power to transform the demons. Suddenly, the chamber starts falling apart. The demons break out of their enclosure, rushing towards the nearby exit. Lang Ming grabs one of the demon's horns, taking him along the stampede. He eventually falls off and almost gets trampled. Fortunately, he manages to jump onto a nearby tree. We see that the demons are jumping into a large pit without hesitation. They are sacrificing themselves for Tao Tai. Lang Ming shouts as loud as he can, calling for his mother. One of the demons turns around and runs towards him. Lang Ming gets on top of another demon and rides it to get closer to his mom. Unfortunately, the demon, who is actually Mei, bumps into other demons. She gets knocked back until she is barely hanging on to the edge of the pit. She gathers the strength to jump back up, only to be tackled and sent falling down into the pit. Lang Ming tries to follow his mother into the pit, but Little Goblin stops him. While he is crying, Jia Yi slowly walks beside him, adding insult to injury. A group of Shaolins show up and tell Jia Yi to stop whatever he's doing. He pays them minimal attention. He then throws the top into the pit and screams for Tao Tai to come out. A few seconds go by and nothing happens. The Shaolins waste no time and begin attacking Jia Yi. He manages to fend off their individual attacks. However, Jia Yi gets immobilized and gets hit by a powerful combined attack. The force of the attack proves too much for him to handle and he falls flat on his stomach. All of a sudden, the ground shakes. Lava is bursting out of the ground. The fearsome beast Tao Tai finally shows his true form. As a response, the Shaolins decided to retreat to Xiaoyangang to protect the people there. Little Goblin approaches the injured Jia Yi and tries to eliminate him. However, he takes over his mind and directs her blade toward Lang Ming. He stops the blade with his hand, and they are at a standstill. Meanwhile, Tao Tai starts terrorizing the nearby town by hurling molten boulders at it. The Shaolins try their best to save the people in that town. The scene goes back to Little Goblin. We see her snap out of mind control and stab herself in the stomach. She falls to the ground, and Lang Ming grabs her and holds her close. She then takes the time to tell him that she had known him ever since he was a child. We find out that Little Goblin had been observing Lang Ming from afar, envying his life. Unfortunately, she doesn't remember anything else from her past except Lang Ming. After the revelation, Little Goblin takes her last breath and her physical form evaporates. Lang Ming can't help but become emotional after witnessing his friend disappear. Jia Yi insults him, stating that he should be thankful to Tao Tai for restoring his vision. Lang Ming takes out his anger on Jia Yi and pummels his face until he loses consciousness. In the spur of the moment, Lang Ming grabs a knife and horizontally slices his own face, blinding himself. He remembers his father's words telling him that only the blind can master the wind spell. Then, he jumps headfirst into the pit. While falling down, Lang Ming suddenly gains the power of the wind. We see a green aura around his body as he descends into the pit. Unfortunately, he still hits the ground. Back at Xiaoyanggang, we see the Shaolin summon a barrier to stop a hand slam from Tao Tai. We see that maintaining the barrier takes a toll on their body. When Tao Tai slams for the second time, the barrier breaks, and most of the Shaolins get knocked back. When Tao Tai performs a third slam, a wind barrier appears that blocks the attack and shatters the beast's hand. Next, we see Lang Ming float up from the bottom of the pit all the way in front of Tao Tai. Everyone in Xiaoyanggang sees him, and they raise their hands to show support. Lang Ming then flies around the beast several times, forming a tornado around it. Then he flies directly above and uses the top to capture Tao Tai's spirit. While that is happening, thousands of demons fall out of Tao Tai's body and all of them turn back to their human form. After Tao Tai is successfully sealed, the sky clears up and we see a cloud formation resembling the symbol of the Shaolin. A few days later, we see Lang Ming giving his words of wisdom to some children. Mei arrives to scold him and they exchange a few words. She talks about how he is still blind despite saving the world. He responds by joking about the vegetable stuck to her teeth. In the next scene, Lang Ming speaks with the commander of the Shaolins. The commander asks Lang Ming if he wants to become a Shaolin and move to their temple. Lang Ming rejects the offer, stating that he prefers living in Xiaoyanggang. The commander then tells him about the story of a man they met before, who was responsible for sealing Tao Tai. We then find out that the man he is talking about is Lang Ming's father. After rejecting the offer to become a Shaolin, we see Lang Ming walking towards the sunset and back to his hometown.